We are the Gujarat Technological University. Since its inception over a decade ago, GTU has been empowering young and curating minds to realize their true potential. Over 4 lakh inspired students are enrolled with one of the premier academic universities in India. With more than 450 affiliated colleges in its fold operating across 5 zones of the state, GTU, the International Innovative University, your place to move forward.
Okay, good morning, student. Today we discuss a topic Introduction to a Complex Number, Lecture 2. Subject Complex Variable and Partial Differential Equation. So, in a previous lecture, we discussed how to define the complex number, how to add both, how to subtract, how to multiply, and then how to divide. Now, in this lecture, we discuss a De Moivre's theorem, roots of equation, and its example. So first we discuss De Moivre's theorem. So De Moivre's theorem, how to define. So some theory is that, so if we consider a multiplication of n numbers, z1, z2 up to zn. So in a previous lecture we discussed multiplication of 2 number, multiplication of 3 number. But in this case, here we consider a multiplication of n number, and the number is z1, z2, z3 up to zn. Then it can be seen that z1, z2 up to zn is equal to. We also discussed in a previous lecture how to define a complex number in a polar coordinate. So we know that z is equal to r into e raised to I theta. So similarly, first we can take a complex number z1. So z1, a polar coordinate is r1 into e raised to I theta 1. z2 polar coordinate is r2 into e raised to I theta 2, up to and so on, rn into e raised to I theta n, where z1, z2 up to zn, and n is a positive integer. Now, in this equation, we can take r1, r2, r3 up to rn is equal to r. That means r1 is r, r2 is r, r3 is r, up to rn is r. And similarly, theta 1 is equal to theta 2 is equal to theta 3, and all value are we consider theta. Then we obtain here z1 is z, z2 is z, z3 is also z, zn is also z. So z is n times, so we write z raised to n. So z raised to n is equal to r1, r2 up to rn is also r. So r e raised to I theta raised to n. So r also n time, e raised to I theta also n time. So we write z raised to n is equal to r into e raised to I theta raised to n, and which can be expressed as r raised to n into e raised to I theta. We know that the formula is a cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n. And then we can say r raised to n is r raised to n into cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n is nothing but cos n theta plus I sin n theta. If r is equal to 1 in a previous equation, that means r is equal to 1, so we can say cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta, and which is called a De Moivre's theorem, where n is a rational number. So if a question is define a De Moivre's theorem, then the formula is a cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. So therefore the De Moivre's theorem is defined if n is a rational number, then the value or one of the value of cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. So this is the De Moivre's theorem. Result 1, if cos theta plus I sin theta raised to minus n, we consider minus n is replaced with minus n, then we write cos n theta minus I sin n theta. Cos theta minus I sin theta raised to n, then we write cos n theta minus I sin n theta. Because here we use minus n, so cos minus n theta is cos n theta. But sin minus n theta is a minus I sin n theta. But here raised to n, so n theta. If minus n, so cos minus n theta is a cos n theta. Sin minus n theta is a minus minus plus, so plus I sin n theta. So this is the De Moivre's theorem, and using this De Moivre's theorem, some result is there. Result 1, 2, 3. So again, I repeat, De Moivre's theorem is very important. De Moivre's theorem is very important. So De Moivre's theorem is n is a rational number, then we write cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n is equal to cos n theta plus I sin n theta. Now example. Suppose some example is given and we simplify using a De Moivre's theorem. Using a De Moivre's theorem. So simplify cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta raised to 8 into cos theta minus I sin theta raised to 5 upon cos 2 theta minus I sin 2 theta raised to minus 3 into cos 5 theta plus I sin 5 theta raised to minus 4. So now this form we simplify using the De Moivre's theorem. So we know that the formula cos theta plus I sin theta raised to n, we write cos n theta plus I sin n theta, and this form is given, then we convert in this form. So first, cos 4 theta plus I sin 4 theta raised to 8, which will be convert in a cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 4, so 4 into 8, because we convert all form in a cos theta plus I sin theta. So first cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 8 into 4. Second cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 5. Here minus, so into minus 1. Here minus, so minus, and 2, so minus 2. And here 5, so 5 into minus 4. So this form can be expressed in this form. Now we multiply all, so 32. Here minus 1 into 5 is minus 5 plus 6 and minus 20. So here base are same, cos theta plus I sin theta. Then we write in a numerator form is a 27. We add 32 and minus 5, then 27, and 6 minus 24 is minus 4. And then we write cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 27 plus 14 is nothing but 41. And then raised to 41 we write cos 41 theta plus I sin 41 theta. So if any example is given which is any random form, and then we use the De Moivre's theorem and we convert in a simple form. Now next example. Example is based on the argument and modulus. Question is, find the modulus and principal argument of z is equal to minus 2 upon 1 plus I into root 3. So this is important question. So if we want to find the modulus and principal argument of z, we discussed the concept of modulus and principal argument of z in a previous lecture. So mode of z is equal to r is a modulus and argument of z is a theta. So z is equal to, first we can take minus 2 upon 1 plus I root 3 is given. Now we convert this complex number in a simple form, that means the real part plus I into imaginary part. So obviously we multiply and divide with the conjugate because the denominator is a depends on a complex number 1 plus I into root 3. So we multiply 1 minus I into root 3 here and we divide. Now in a denominator a plus b, a minus b, then we write a square minus b square. So 1 square minus root 3 square is nothing but 4. And in the numerator we multiply both, then we get this. And then we can say minus 1 by 2 plus I into root 3 by 2. So this is a complex number form, where the real part is minus 1 by 2 and imaginary part is a root 3 by 2. So we can say x is a minus 1 by 2 and y is a root 3 by 2. Now we find the modulus, then r is equal to mode of z is equal to, we know that square root of x square plus y square. So the square root of x is a minus 1 by 2 square plus y is a root 3 by 2 square. Then this is equal to 1 by 2 square is a 1 by 4 plus root 3 by 2 square is a 3 by 4. Then we get 3 plus 1. Here base is same. So 3 plus 1 is 4 by 4 is 1. Root 1 is 1. So r is 1. That means the modulus is 1. Now we find the principal argument of z. That means theta. And in a previous lecture we discussed, if the first quadrant, then the formula for theta is a different. In a second quadrant, in a third quadrant, in a fourth quadrant, the formula for theta is a different. So first we decide our complex number in which quadrant. So here x is a minus 1 by 2 is less than 0 and y is a root 3 by 2 is greater than 0. So x is a less than 0, y is greater than 0. That means the second quadrant. Okay. So second quadrant, x is a less than 0, y is greater than 0. That means the second quadrant. Then the formula for the argument of z, theta is equal to pi minus tan inverse y by x. So pi minus tan inverse y by x is equal to, y is a root 3 by 2 and 2 by minus 1. So this is nothing but root 3. So pi minus pi by 3 is a 2 pi by 3. Because tan inverse root 3 is a pi by 3. So pi minus pi by 3 is a 2 pi by 3. Now, some example. This is important. If given that a simple question, solve the equation of a complex, complex equation. That means the z square plus z plus 1 is equal to 0. So basically we apply a delta method for solving this type of example. So we compare this second degree polynomial with the standard form a z square plus bz plus c. So we get a is 1, b is 1 and c is 1. So we write delta is equal to b square minus 4ac. So b is 1, so 1 minus 4 is nothing but minus 3. Thus the root of the equation r, z is equal to, the formula is minus b plus or minus root delta upon 2a. That means minus 1 plus or minus root minus 3 upon 2. And therefore, root minus 3 is nothing but root 3 into I. So minus 1 by 2 plus 1 minus I into root 3 by 2. So if any complex equation, that means the second degree polynomial is given, Then we use the delta method, and then we use the formula for z is equal to minus b plus or minus root delta upon 2a. And using this formula, we find the roots of the equation. Now, next example. Solve the equation. This is third example is very simple. Now, example number 4. Solve the equation z square minus 5 plus I into z plus 8 plus I. So, this is again a second degree polynomial. We compare this polynomial with the standard form. A is equal to 1, B is equal to minus 5 plus I, and C is equal to 8 plus I. We use the delta method. B square minus 4AC. Therefore, B square, that means minus 5 plus I whole square minus 4AC, so 8 plus I. That means A plus B whole square, we use the formula. Then 25 plus 10I minus 1 minus 32 minus 4I is equal to minus 8 plus 6I. Now this complex number we convert in a perfect square. Why? Because here we know that root delta can be used for finding the roots. So this is the complex number, how to convert in a perfect square. So first we try 1 plus I. We expand. 1 plus 2I we expand. 1 plus 3I we expand. So here we use minus 8 plus 6I. 6I is a middle term. So obviously here we can take 3. 3I into 2, that means 6I. So we use 1 plus 3I. So 1 plus 3I square is nothing but 1 square plus 6I plus 9I square. So 1 minus 9 is nothing but minus 8. So minus 8 plus 6I is nothing but this form. Thus, the root of the equation are delta is minus b plus or minus root delta upon 2a. So minus b, that means minus of minus, so plus 5 plus I plus or minus root delta. Here square and square root both are cancelled, that means 1 plus 3I divided by 2, a is 1. Now first we can take plus. So the first root z is a 5 plus I plus 1 plus 3I divided by 2. That means 6 plus 4I divided by 2. That means 3 plus 2I. And another we can take minus. Then we get 2 minus I. So if given that any example of a second degree polynomial of a complex function, that means a complex equation, then we use first delta method. We find the delta and then we input the formula z is equal to minus b plus or minus root delta upon 2a. Now next topic is the roots of equation. This is important topic because in this topic some example is very important in GTU exam. So first we can take what is the basic concept and which formula we use for finding the roots of equation. So De Moivre's theorem is also used for finding the roots of equation of a complex number. Also we know that cos and sine function are periodic. Therefore we write cos theta plus 2k pi is equal to cos theta, and sine 2k pi plus theta is equal to sine theta, because cos and sine is a periodic function with a 2 pi. So the general form is a cos 2k pi plus theta is cos theta, sin 2k pi plus theta is equal to sin theta. So we use both concept, then we write cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 1 upon n is equal to cos theta is replaced with 2k pi plus theta. So cos 2k pi plus theta plus I sin 2k pi plus theta raised to 1 upon n. Now we use a De Moivre's theorem. So raised to n is nothing but multiply with here. So raised to 1 upon n, then we write cos this term into 1 by n. Then we write 2k pi plus theta upon n plus I sin 2k pi plus theta upon n, where k is 0, 1, 2 up to n minus 1. So this is the formula for finding the roots of the complex number. If input k is equal to 0, k equal to 1, k equal to 2 up to n so on, 1 by 1, we get all n distinct root. Now example we can take. So first example, find the all roots of 1 plus I raised to 1 by 3. We want to find the roots of this complex number. So first we consider z is equal to 1 plus I raised to 1 by 3. Now we compared this complex number in a previous slide. Here 1 upon n, so n is equal to, we can say 3. Complex number here given that 1 plus I, so first we consider this value is x. So x and y is 1, so x is 1, y is 1. We find the modulus, so r is a root x square plus y square, that means root 2 plus, and sorry, theta is a tan inverse y by x, so tan inverse 1 is a pi by 4. So using the De Moivre's theorem, we write, actually z is nothing but a polar coordinate r into e raised to I theta raised to n, we know that. So r raised to 1 upon n, r raised to 1 upon n into cos 2k pi plus theta plus I sin 2k pi plus theta raised to 1 upon n. But here n is equal to 3. So we write r is equal to root 2, we input here. So root 2 raised to 1 by 3 cos 2k pi plus theta is pi by 4 upon 3, because n is a 3, plus I sin 2k pi plus pi by 4 upon 3, where k is 0, 1, 2. Because here 3, then we extend the value of k up to n minus 1. So here 3, that we consider k is 0, k is 1 and k is 2. So we get 3 different roots. First, we consider k is 0. We input here. Then 2 raised to 1 by 2 into 1 by 3. So 1 by 6. 2 raised to 1 by 6. Cos k is 0, pi by 4 divided by 3. So pi by 12 plus I sin pi by 12. The first root is a 2 raised to 1 by 6 cos pi by 12 plus I sin pi by 12. K equal to 1, we input here k equal to 1. Then 2 pi plus pi by 4, so 4 into 2 8 pi plus pi, so 9 pi by 12. 9 pi by 12 plus I sin 9 pi by 12, and k equal to 3, so 3 into 6, sorry, k equal to 2, k equal to 2, so 2 into 2 is a 4, 4 4 is a 16 plus pi, so 17 pi by 12 and 17 pi by 12. So again, if any example is given for finding the roots of a complex number, so first we consider z is equal to the given complex number. we find the value of x, we find the value of y, and then using the formula r is equal to square root of x square plus y square, we find the modulus of a complex number, that means r. We find the value of theta, and then we input r and theta in the formula. Z is equal to r raised to 1 upon n cos 2k pi plus theta plus I sin 2k pi plus theta raised to 1 upon n. So in this formula we input r, theta and n, and then we convert this form in this form, and we consider the value of k is 0, then we get the first root, k is 1, then we get the second root, k is 2, then we get the third root, up to and so on. Now another example we consider, find the all roots of a cube root of 8i. Okay, so same procedure. First we can take z is equal to 8i raised to 1 by 3. So in this form we consider x is 0. X is 0 and y is 8. So r is equal to the square root of 0 square plus 8 square is nothing but 8. And theta is a tan inverse y by x. Y is 8, x is 0, tan inverse infinity is pi by 2. So using the De Moivre's theorem, we write z is equal to r raised to 1 upon n cos 2k pi plus theta plus I sin 2k pi plus theta raised to 1 upon n. Now n is replaced with 3 and theta is replaced with pi by 2. So 2 cos 2 raised to 2, that means r is 8. So 8 raised to 1 by 3. And 8 is nothing but 2 raised to 3. So 2 raised to 3 into 1 by 3. So 3 cancel. That means we get 2. Cos 2k pi, theta is pi by 2. And divide by 1 upon n. So that means divide by n. So n is 3. Plus I sin 2k pi plus pi by 2 divided by 3. Here n is 3. So k is 0, 1 and 2. Now we input k is 0. Then first root 2 cos pi by 2 divide by 3, so pi by 6 plus I sin pi by 6. K is 1. Then we get 2 cos 2 to the 4, 5 pi by 6 plus I sin 5 pi by 6. K is equal to 2. So 2 to the 4 to the 8, 9 pi by 6 plus I sin 9 pi by 6. Now next example, evaluate 1 plus I into root 3 raised to 9 and 1 minus I root 3 raised to, sorry, here also 90. Oh, sorry. Here not 90, here 100. So 1 plus I root 3 raised to 100 plus 1 minus I root 3 raised to 100. So first we can take this complex number 1 plus I root 3. The procedure is similar. X is 1, y is a root 3. So r is a 2 and theta is pi by 3. Now we consider z is a 1 minus I into root 3. So here x is 1, y is a minus root 3. So r is a 2 similar and theta is a 2 pi by 3. So therefore, a given complex number 1 plus I root 3 raised to 100 plus 1 minus I root 3 raised to 100 is equal to, for first, r into cos theta plus I sin theta raised to 100 plus, for the second term, we write 2 cos 2 pi by 3 plus I sin 2 pi by 3 raised to 100. Now in a second term, cos 2 pi by 3 nothing but pi minus pi by 3, and cos pi minus pi by 3 is a cos pi by 3, sin pi minus pi by 3 is a minus sin pi by 3. So we write here this term as it is, but here we can take minus. Now the next term is a 2 raised to 100 cos 100 pi by 3 using the De Moivre's theorem plus I sin 100 pi by 3, similar 2 raised to 100 cos 100 pi by 3 minus I sin 100 pi by 3. 2 raised to 100 common, then we get this form. This both term are cancelled. So 2 cos 100 pi by 3, and therefore we write 2 raised to 101 cos 100 pi by 3 is the answer. Now some important formula like hyperbolic function, circular function, and relation between hyperbolic and circular function. So some important formula. First, hyperbolic function. So we write sine hyperbolic x is e raised to x minus e raised to minus x divided by 2. Cos hyperbolic x is e raised to x plus e raised to minus x divided by 2. We know that. Similarly, tan hyperbolic x, sec hyperbolic x, cosec hyperbolic x, cot hyperbolic x, and so on. Now, circular function in terms of the exponential form. So, sin x is a e raised to ix minus e raised to minus ix divided by 2i, and cos x e raised to ix plus e raised to minus ix divided by 2. Relation between a circular and hyperbolic function, this is very important. So sin ix is nothing but I sin hyperbolic x. This formula is very, very important. Sin ix is equal to I sin hyperbolic x, and cos ix is equal to cos hyperbolic x. Again I repeat, the important formula sin ix is a I sin hyperbolic x, and cos ix is a cos hyperbolic x. Similarly, tan ix is a I tan hyperbolic x. Cosec ix is a minus I cosec hyperbolic x. Sec ix is a sec hyperbolic x, and cot ix is a minus I cot hyperbolic x. So we can take some simple example where we use the circular function, exponential function, and hyperbolic function. If given that the question is find the real part and imaginary part of a trigonometric sine z and cos z. So directly not possible. So which formula we use? So first here we write sine z. Z is nothing but x plus iy. So we write sine x plus iy. Now we know that the formula sine a plus b. So sine a cos b plus cos a sine b. That means sine x cos iy plus cos x sine iy. Now we can't say this is the imaginary part, yeah, this is the real part. So first we use cos iy. Using the previous slide, we know that cos iy is a cos hyperbolic y, and sin iy is a minus I sin hyperbolic y. So sin iy is a minus I sin hyperbolic y, and cos iy is a cos hyperbolic y. Sin ix is a I sin hyperbolic x, cos ix is a cos hyperbolic x. So here the term is a plus, not minus. So sine Iy is a I sine hyperbolic y. So the real part is a sine x cos hyperbolic y, and imaginary part of sine z is a cos x sine hyperbolic y. So this term is a plus, not minus. Similarly, cos z is a cos x plus iy is equal to cos x into cos iy plus sine x into sine iy. So cos iy is a cos hyperbolic y and sine iy is a I sine hyperbolic y. So again here plus not minus. So the real part is this and imaginary part is this. Sorry, this term is not negative. This term also a positive and positive. So both are positive. Now next, logarithm function of a complex number. So first we discuss how to convert any polynomial in a real part and imaginary part. Second, how to exponential function convert in a real part and imaginary part. In a previous slide, we discussed the how to convert a trigonometric function in a real part and imaginary part. Now, how to convert a logarithm function of a complex number in a real part and imaginary part. So, using the polar coordinate, capital log z is nothing but log, capital log, z is replaced with x plus iy, and this capital log we express is equal to small log x plus iy plus I into 2n pi, because we consider the general form, so plus I into 2n pi. Now log x plus iy is nothing but log r into e raised to I theta, complex in a polar coordinate, plus I into 2n pi. So capital log x plus iy is nothing but log r plus log e raised to I theta plus I into 2n pi. Therefore log r, e and log cancel, we get I theta plus I 2n pi, and which can be used log r plus I theta plus 2n pi. So the general value of logarithm, this formula is very important. General value of a logarithm log z, capital log z, is equal to log r plus I theta plus 2n pi. Log r plus I theta plus 2n pi. So if question is find the real part and imaginary part of log some complex number. So the real part log x plus iy is log r. This is the real part. And log r nothing but log square root of x square plus y square. And the imaginary part log x plus iy is a theta plus 2n pi. Theta we know that tan inverse y by x plus 2n pi. Now in a general value of the logarithm, we consider n is equal to 0, then we get the principal value of the logarithm. So the principal value of the logarithm, we write log x plus iy is log r plus I into theta. So again I repeat, if we want to find the general value and the principal value of the logarithm, also we find the real part and imaginary part of the logarithm, then we use the formula log x plus iy is a log r plus I theta plus 2n pi. So log r, that means log square root of x square plus y square, is the real part, and imaginary part is a theta plus 2n pi, that means tan inverse y by x plus 2n pi. If we can take n is 0, then the principal value of the logarithm we get log r plus I into theta. Now we can take some example. Question is find the general values and the principal values of the following function of logarithm. First example we can take I. if we want to find a general value and principal value of the complex number I, or question is find the real part and the imaginary part of log I. So both are similar. So log I we write using the previous slide log r plus I theta plus 2n pi. So this is the complex number I. We compared the standard form z is equal to x plus iy. So x is 0, y is 1. Therefore r is a log square root of x square plus y square. So log square root of 1 root that means not log root x square plus y square. So root x square plus y square is 1. And theta is a tan inverse y by x. So pi by 2. So we replace r is equal to 1 and theta is pi by 2 in the standard formula. So log I is a log r, that means log 1 plus I, theta is pi by 2 plus 2n pi. Now we know that log 1 is 0, then the form is I pi by 2 plus 2n pi. So we can say the general value of the logarithm function I is I pi by 2 plus 2n pi, and principal value of log I is I pi by 2 because we can take n is equal to 0. Now another example, log 1 minus I. So log 1 minus I is equal to log R, same procedure, plus I theta plus 2n pi. So we compare with the standard formula z is equal to x plus iy, so x is 1, y is minus 1. So again r is equal to square root of x square plus y square. So 1 square plus 1 square is a root 2. Here also a printing mistake, writing mistake, log, not here log, here only the square root of x square plus y square, so root 2. And the theta is a tan inverse y by x. So this is the x greater than 0 and y less than 0. So that means the fourth quadrant, that means the minus tan inverse y by x. So tan inverse 1 is pi by 4, minus pi by 4. So we write log 1 minus I is a log root 2. We got log r, that means log root 2 plus I. Theta is minus pi by 4 plus 2n pi. So this is the general value of log 1 minus I. Now we can take n is 0. Then log root 2 minus I pi by 4 is the principal value of logarithm. So thank you. Today we discuss a topic, first De Moivre's theorem, then how to use the De Moivre's theorem for simplify any example, then we discuss a topic, roots of equation, and then we use the logarithm function of a complex number.